Inside webinar. As Debbie mentioned, the session of today is an introduction to machining. Our NMIS member, Seco Tools, will be sharing their experience and expertise with cutting tools. And at the end, there'll be an opportunity for you to find out more about the programs and the exciting programs that we have on offer. The speakers for today, we have Ben Alexander, he's Business Development Manager for Service in Europe. And then we have Mick Wood, who is Managing Director of MW Coaching and Training Limited. Today they work together to build the training programs that NMIS will be the offering from Seco. As I mentioned, my name is Jose Hernandez, and I'm continuous professional development lead at the Manufacturing Skills Academy in NMIS, and we work collaboratively with industry to put programs like this together. Before we start with the webinar, I'll briefly mention some of the housekeeping rules, and I'll do an introduction to NMIS. But this webinar will be recorded and will be made publicly available on our YouTube channel. So if you're not comfortable with speaking during the webinar, then you have an option not to participate as well. We have muted and turned off your microphones and webcams during the session to avoid any background noise, but we have built some time at the end of the webinar to allow you to ask any questions you might have. If you want to ask questions, you can type them into the chat function and we will address them at the end of the webinar. But if the presenters have kindly agreed to be open for questions during the presentation. So if there's something that you will require clarification that might be useful to discuss sooner rather than later, please raise your hand function and somebody within the team will unmute your microphone and then you can ask the question yourselves. So this webinar is presented through the Manufacturing Skills Academy, which is one of the specialist centres within the National Manufacturing Institute of Scotland. But who we are as NMIS, we're an industry-led international centre of manufacturing expertise. Our objective is to support manufacturing sector, regardless of what they make or how tangible or intangible your product may be, to become more productive, to do more innovation, and skills is a key part of that jigsaw. How we're doing this, we're bringing together the excellent work that is conducted in education environments, like colleges and universities, by bringing together the amazing support that is available through public sector organizations to help deliver transformational impact. So it's all about collaboration. And our ultimate objective is to make Scotland and the UK global leaders in advanced manufacturing. NMIS is a national asset and is a significant investment from the Scottish government, and a lot of partners have come together to support. And this creates an ecosystem that allows us to deliver that collaborative environment. It is worth mentioning that we are operated by the University of Strathclyde. NMIS receives funding from the University of Strathclyde, and that's why we are very closely linked to the university. But it's important to mention that we're here to collaborate with all the universities across Scotland. And because of our position within Scotland, we're part of the high value manufacturing catapult. We're the only catapult centre in Scotland, and this unlocks a wide range of support across the nation. Last year, we launched our new facility next by the airport, and you can see some of the images of our state-of-the-art facility. So we have fantastic space to collaborate and work together, fantastic space to do research, and a lot of equipment that organizations can take advantage of. So if you have not had an opportunity to visit our center, we would encourage you to consider coming and paying us a visit. In terms of what NMIS offers, we do collaborative research. So we work closely with industry and with the funding bodies to unlock grants to support research and support industry. Because we have a big factory space, we have also access to state-of-the-art manufacturing equipment that we use to conduct our research, but also to offer services to our customers. And as part of this research and access to state-of-the-art equipment, we're able to offer technical consultancy from skills to direct support. As NMIS, we have an ambition to help attract more talent into the manufacturing sector, and we adopt an end-to-end skills provision and support outlook. So 5 to 75 is our motto. And this example of a webinar is part of that skill support. NMIS operates a membership model. Depending on your membership contribution, it will unlock certain services and products. If you want to find out more, please get in touch. But one of our unique selling points, as I mentioned earlier on, is our access to the network. We're very closely connected with the Scottish government, with the universities, and with public sector bodies, which allows us to better meet and direct you to the right support mechanisms. We don't claim to have all the knowledge and expertise, although we have a lot of knowledge and expertise within our organization. But if we don't have the answer to your problem, we'll probably know somebody that does. And when we explained what NMIS is about, well, we talked about a combination of capability and specialists and technology centers that work together to deliver this impact. So at the moment, we have 5 specialist centers. We have the Advanced Forming Research Center, which is very closely linked to the topic of today, forging and forming of materials. So today we're going to talk about cutting of metals. So we work very close with Seco in our Advanced Forming Research Center. We also look at lightweighting of components through our Lightweight Manufacturing Center, and of course, machining is a big part of that. Our digital factory team that focuses on Industry 4.0 research, and again, we're working very closely to help understand how to optimize some of the operations that we conduct with our equipment. And as I mentioned, I work for the Manufacturing Skills Academy, and one of the newest specialist center, which will be launching later this year, is the Digital Processing Manufacturing Center. But as I mentioned, we have a lot of capability within these specialist technology centers, but we can deliver much bigger impact by working together and through the access to the NMIS network. So that's the end of the introduction from me. I'm going to now hand over to our colleague from Seco Tools to go into the introduction to machining. Ben, is it okay if I hand over to you now?
Absolutely. Yeah, no problem. Let me just get my screen on. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for the intro, Jose. Myself and Mick Wood are here today to talk to you about the Seco Technical Education Programme, the STEP programme that we will be running at NMIS next month. But before Mick comes in to give you an overview of the agenda for that day and what we'll be running through and the education that we'll be providing, I'm going to give a background to Seco Tools and a brief look at the challenge in the industry and why we offer this kind of education to our customers. Even before that, health and safety is really important to us at Seco Tools. So please make sure that wherever you are listening and watching in to this webinar, that you're in a safe environment. And I also really want to touch on psychological safety is also paramount for us. We always feel that you get more from a dialogue than from a monologue. So if you feel you can, please put your hand up and join the discussion. We're really open to having questions. We're both very friendly, so shouldn't be any problems. But yeah, it'd be great if you can put your hand up and join the discussion with us. If not, of course, more than welcome to put them in the chat, but I just want to make sure that everybody feels they can contribute. Okay, so a little bit about Seco Tools. Seco was formed from a mining company in a place called Fagersta. Back in 1936, the mine dates back a lot longer than that. Fagersta is a couple of hours outside of Stockholm to the northwest. And in 1974, Seco became an independent company. We were fully acquired by the Sandvik Group in 2012. And for those of you that don't know, Sandvik is a global engineering group with divisions that include mining and rock solutions, rock processing, and manufacturing and machining solutions, which is where Seco Tools sits. Our purpose is to make manufacturing fast, easy, and sustainable. And we mainly serve customers in aerospace, automotive, medical, and power gen industries, although, of course, we do reach much further than that. We're present in over 75 countries worldwide through sales offices, distribution and agent partners, production and distribution centres and our tech centres and innovation hubs. And it's important to know that, because not only are we producing the tools and developing the technologies around the applications for machining processes, but we're also cutting metal and utilising these techniques in our own facilities. So we are uniquely placed to be able to deliver this kind of education. We provide a full scope metal cutting products, from high precision inserts, advanced tools and tool holders for a variety of machine spindles. And making our customers' lives less complex is key to us. So through the products and services that we offer, we aim to support the entire manufacturing journey, from the promises our customers make to their customers to their final delivery. Therefore, we not only provide cutting tools to enhance your machining process, but we offer a full suite of services across all aspects of your facility, of which STEP, the technical education program, is one of them. And for almost as long as we've been producing cutting tools, we've been educating our customers on best practices and production processes. So why is education so important, particularly important for customers in manufacturing today? Of course, our customers, or your customers, expect manufacturers to make more and better products at lower costs. And as manufacturers struggle to keep up with competitive pressure, they also face a generational change in the workforce that leaves them short of skilled workers and long on less experienced employees. The baby boomer generation's retiring, and manufacturing is struggling to attract new generations to the industry. There's a critical shortage of skilled workers, which makes sustaining your productions even more complex than before. Many are failing to capitalise on the accrued knowledge of previous employees or retiring employees before they leave the businesses. Many young people see manufacturing as an old industry, possibly from the viewpoint of their parents, who may have been involved in the industry a long time ago and were subjected to long working hours, in dusty old factories. The chart on the right-hand side of the screen there is primarily related to US manufacturing. However, we also know that in the UK, I can see from gov.org, that engineering and manufacturing apprentices have dropped by 28% between 2019-20 and 2021-2022. So we're seeing a large drop in apprentices entering the industry. And of course, many young people are looking to avoid blue collar work, as it's seen as less stable, with lower wages and less opportunities than white collar counterparts. We know also that technology is rapidly advancing within manufacturing. Today's job market looks very different to the market of 20 years ago, with Industry 4 and the digitisation of manufacturing driving the need for new skill sets. We know that the existing workforce will need to be upskilled to be retained and to provide the knowledge that we need for manufacturing. And we also have somewhat of a lack of diversity. Globally, women make up less than 30% of the manufacturing workforce, according to Deloitte. And while efforts are made to attract more women to the industry, there's a large group of talented individuals leaving school and university that do not consider engineering as a future option for them, a future career option. So to combat some of these issues, and of course there are multiple other reasons for the skills gap, but I've just highlighted a few there. But to combat some of this, we developed what we call the STEP curriculum. This is a suite of brand neutral courses for all levels of manufacturing, starting from the core curriculum, which is more aimed at people on the shop floor, operators, setters, with a focus on practical skills with hands-on teaching, all the way through to our next step or masterclass courses, which are aimed at production managers or business owners, where we we try to connect real life production challenges to the impact on your business bottom line. The courses can all be customized, can be held in your own locations or our locations, and are really designed to help develop your workforce and to build those knowledges that you require to move your manufacturing forward. As I mentioned, these courses are brand neutral, meaning they're not specific to Seco products. They can be applied to any cutting tools you're using on your shop floor. So this isn't an advert for Seco Tools. It's really designed to help manufacturers progress and build knowledge in their workforce. And of course, there are lots of tangible benefits for sending your employees onto our STEP courses. For the employees themselves, of course, it's particularly the core course that we'll be running at NMIS next month. They'll be able to select the correct tools and strategies for their applications, to better understand workpiece materials and machinability, to identify tool wear and troubleshooting, and to also help optimize their machining processes. And of course, these will also translate into overall benefits for your organization. So for the wider company, of course, if your employees are able to do these things in a better way, it means that you should see productivity increases for the company. We should be able to reduce machining times, reduce the scrap and rework, and of course increase capacity and increase your competitive advantage and your profit margins, which is of course what we're all here for. But if nothing else, you should also see a reduction in workplace stress as people understand the processes better and understand how to fix and how to troubleshoot and how to improve the manufacturing process. So with that short background, I will pass over to Mick, who will talk you through the agenda of what we're going to do on the 20th of March at NMIS, and can introduce all the different topics that we'll be covering. So Mick, over to you.
Thank you, Ben. Good morning, everybody. Just a brief introduction. So you saw on the initial slide from Jose that I actually run my own business working with Seco Tools now as a consultant. So I worked for Seco for 21 years before setting up a consultancy, and I continue to work with Seco in delivering the STEP program, which I've been involved with for over 10 years. So this is just a snapshot really of the content and the agenda that we look to deliver for the core training, which we're going to be running next month. As per normal, we do our introductions, get everybody to know each other, any safety aspects that's needed for the facility at NMIS. Then we start with the introduction to what machining is all about. We look at the three main fundamental areas with regards to hole making, turning and milling. Then we look at workpiece materials and the machinability, which really helps us to understand the properties of different materials, the aspects that we need to approach each of these materials before we even start to look at the machining process itself. So the fundamentals of what different material groups are, where they sit, how do we approach each of those different materials across the spectrum. Then we have a look at tool selection and the cutting conditions that each of these materials challenges with, and how we can overcome those different machinability aspects of different material groups. Then we have a look at some of the weird and wonderful language that's used in metal cutting, and we break down some of those different terms and terminology that some of us may or may not know. Then we have a look at some of the areas of the practical limitations, and these can be anything from operators, operating systems, processes, cutting tools, machine tool platforms, workpiece materials, all of these different areas that can throw challenges to machinists to overcome. We have a little bit more information then when it comes to systematic approach to tool selections, what type of tools we need to approach different materials and different applications with. We spend some time then looking at chip formation and how we can control the chip formation with different aspects of the cutting tools, the cutting data, the machine tool platform. We have a look at ideally what kind of chip formation that we need to look to achieve in each of the different workpiece materials. Then we have a little bit of time looking at the different cutting forces that's involved in those machining processes. We go into a lot more detail in the advanced course, which follows the core course in the program. And then we spend quite a bit of time looking at the heat and temperature and wear patterns, because that's really where the magic happens, in understanding what kind of wear pattern that we need to achieve for each of these different workpiece materials and how we can optimize those wear patterns to get the best tool life in each of the applications that we look at. And we spend quite a bit of time there. There's some practical work as well throughout the day that makes it interesting. The day then ends with some reflections and some feedback and what lessons we've learned throughout the program, which is a full day's program on the core course. So who is the training aimed at? Ben's already touched on this earlier in his presentation, and that is anybody that's involved in the machining process. I've delivered this training to apprentices right all the way through to PhD level students. So it's a broad program that covers the basic fundamentals of machining and machining properties, and some of the challenges that we as machinists need to understand to be able to overcome and be successful in our machining process. So that is a kind of overview of the content of the day. And I think then maybe an opportunity for any questions that you may have, again, either in the chat or if you want to raise your hand, that Ben and I can maybe answer. Yeah, without further ado, Jose, I hand back over to you.
That's great. Thanks, Mick. So it's a really interesting program that we're putting together. As you mentioned, there's a lot of experience and expertise into this. What kind of customers do you usually expect to see in your program, Mick?
The customers with respect to individuals or business segments, Jose.
Well, combination might be useful. So let's start with the business, and then we'll talk about the individuals afterwards as well.
Right, fine. So historically, we have delivered this program to all segments that Ben's already mentioned, but predominantly the main focus areas have been medical, aerospace, general machining, specialist areas like kind of carbons and what have you. We only touch on those. We don't do a great deal of coverage in the core program on that area, but the rest, the metal cutting, pretty much we cover all of different segments. When it comes to individuals, again, anybody that is involved in the machining process, whether that is machine operators, programmers, team leads, middle managers, anybody that is involved in production and metal cutting process, it appeals to every one of those people.
And just to expand on that one, so we have graduates that look at some of these concepts within their degrees. What would you say is different about, or why is this training necessary for individuals that come out from those backgrounds?
Yeah, good question. It really helps to practicalize the theory and the theoretical approach to metal cutting. So one of the areas that I think is vitally important is to understand the fundamentals, both from a theoretical perspective, and we do look at a fair bit of theory in this course, but then help to practicalize. What does it actually mean to apply the theory on the machine tool? And it's the link really the training covers to help people to understand, okay, I understand the theory, and there's a lot of clever people out there that understands the theory more than I do. But I've been involved in machining and metal cutting for 45 years. And every time we deliver this course, I am surprised at how much people gain from it. So it's to help to put into practice the theory that we know for academics and the academic approach, and to really understand then what it actually means to apply the theory on the machine tool.
Perfect. And just one final question. So can you tell us a bit more about the training? So, the duration of the training, is there any assessment or examination at the end of it? And maybe you can expand as well on the practical side. What kind of practical examples of activities would learners do during the training course?
Okay. Yes. Well, if I address the second part first, the practical side, we all being well, we will have a machining practical demonstration that we're just putting in process now, that hopefully everything goes to plan with that. And that is really to understand what does it mean to form chips on a machine tool, and what are the influences that can change that process that will help us to have a better, more stable, more cost efficient process. So that's one of the practical areas. What does it mean to produce good chips, and what influences that process when it comes to the cutting data, the tool nose radius, the geometries of the inserts, the carbide that we actually use to machine that actual workpiece material, those kinds of influences. The other practical area is looking at the wear patterns. There are many different wear patterns, but not many people understand what they are and what are influencing those wear patterns. So we do a practical, I guess it's not an exam as such, but it's a practical aspect where people get to identify these different wear patterns. And we teach people to understand what they are, what they look like, and what is influencing those wear patterns, so that then we can understand how we can better utilize the cutting process to get, great chip control, but more importantly, the full tool life. And tool life is vitally important because it affects, the product economy, and make sure that we are producing a good quality workpiece, but as efficiently as we can. So that's the practical aspect. There are a couple of other little practical tests, if you want to call it that, but that's just so I can better understand the audience that I'm working with, to understand that the training is really reaching the parts that it needs to reach within individuals. So there's no formal exam here, really. There are some good questions. All of my training is a two-way thing. It's not just me pointing PowerPoints. I love for the for the participants to get involved and to ask questions throughout the day, and we really encourage that, to make it more of an interactive training rather than just a trainee delivering or a trainer delivering to a trainee. It's about interaction, so that the understanding really is deeper.
Fair enough. And I think you mentioned the machine, so that's certainly something that we're looking at, just to make sure that the people that will come into training into our facility, not only will they get a chance to look at that machine in operation and then see the changes, you start to change some settings, what is the impact on the cutting tool, but also on the chips that come out of it. But the learners will get an opportunity to see a lot of the other equipment that we have in NMIS, not all related to cutting, but it's a good opportunity for them to get exposed to other concepts that may be relevant that you may also cover in the course, things like programming or digital elements of manufacturing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got a great facility there, so it will be great to for people that attend the day also to get a tour of what the facility and what's in the facility. So that will be part and parcel of the day. The practical aspect will also be a little bit of a test for individuals. They will get to offer some solutions to the challenges that they observe in the machining process. And then also we'll get to apply that, all being well, and then see what the differences are in the way that different people approach some of the challenges that we look to identify.
Perfect. And this is the starting point of for the learners that want to become really specialist experts in cutting. So this training program will have a duration of 1 full day, and then there's an opportunity to potentially do more later on. So in your experience, I mean, it's difficult to answer this question, right? How long is the piece of string question? But from a formation perspective, how many training hours do you think somebody will have to go through to become a true specialist in cutting tools? Not looking at experience, right? But just the additional knowledge that somebody can gain.
Yeah, well, I'm a big believer, Jose, that every day is a school day for us. You know, I've been involved in machining for 40 plus years, and every time there is something new that we can learn. The core course really helps us to kind of set the basic fundamentals in place for us to then to be able to understand where we want to go from here. The advanced course, which is a 2-day course, well, we really go into a lot more detail than when it comes to the theoretical aspect, as well as looking at some of the fundamentals of some of the pioneers in engineering that have brought us to where we are now in 2024. So we look at some of the work that, especially 4 pioneers in the engineering industry, have really helped to develop machining, full stop, from way back when to where we are now, and it's a lot more in depth. That is geared more for people that want to really advance their specialities in whatever area or career that you look to take within engineering. But it is more academic. We also do practical aspects as well on the advanced course. It's a little bit more in detail, and we'll look at some more advanced machining processes and programming characteristics on that course. So yes, the core course really sets the benchmark in basic understanding, looking to then maybe take the practical advanced course at a later date.
Perfect. So no, thank you very much, Mick, for your presentation. It's been really insightful. So it's an exciting opportunity for people to advance their career within this specific area. And I was wondering, I cannot see any questions from the audience, so we'll give the audience a final opportunity to ask any questions from Mick or Ben about what Seco does or the training program that we're going to be delivering in a month's time. So it seems like there's no more questions coming to us, Mick and Ben. Debbie, can I hand over to you to help us close the session?
Sure. Yep, no problem at all. So yeah, as you said, there's no questions from the audience just now, but by all means, anyone can